now we're hearing alarming rates of agents really quitting. 60% of agents have
that's
quit
what I've seen.
As of the date of this recording, that's what we're hearing. And so imagine it's because you're being stuck behind a wall and you're only being faced with one option. If your buyer can't get a mortgage, then what do? But if you're equipped to handle something like this and have the tool belt and understand this creative finance, you're able to help way more people. Welcome back, you guys. Bringing you Zach Beach once again. In the building. Now, we had talked about all the different techniques, why this market needs creative financing, all these beautiful things. Now, one of the cores of the market and the people that are generally the closest to the deal and have these relationships with the real estate investors and the peeps, right?
Yep.
It's your local real estate agents, whether they be commercial or residential. And commercial, I think, has a little bit more openness to creative financing.
I think so, yeah.
Than residential agents.
Because it's always been more difficult to get a commercial loan than it has been for a residential loan. So it always makes sense. You see a lot of lease purchase agreements, owner financing in commercial spaces.
Totally.
I think at the end of the day, really, no matter if you're an agent or an investor, but let's specifically talk about agents, and that is being able to solve more problems is what we're consistently aiming to do as agents.
Right.
And if you're constantly in front of prospects, there's going to be some problems that you can't solve with the traditional real estate, right?
It's happening in this market, which is the main reason why I'm like, Zach, how can agents incorporate this into their business? Because the more problems that you can solve, like we were saying in previous videos, the more money that you're going to make. If you have more solutions for your clients, you're going to be that market authority number one, because nobody's really doing much on creative finance or pushing it, especially on the residential side.
Of course, yeah.
I think now we're hearing alarming rates of agents really quitting. 60% of agents have
that's
quit.
What I've seen.
As of the date of this recording, that's what we're hearing. And so imagine it's because you're being stuck behind a wall and you're only being faced with one option. If your buyer can't get a mortgage, then what do? But if you're equipped to handle something like this and have the tool belt and understand this creative finance, you're able to help way more people, sellers that are your clients, as well as buyers, and create win-win scenarios for them. So this is if you're an agent, you have your real estate license and you're watching, this is like a golden ticket for you, because it's just going to mean more sales in your pocket and more people that you help, more clients that you help.
Yeah, I was doing a presentation the other day to a group of agents, and there was this one agent, he stood up, he was from Southern California, and he said, we have made, I think, 42 offers with a particular buyer, and he's like, this buyer no longer wants to, he tells me he doesn't want to buy anymore. And he was like, so he asked me, he's like, Zach, are you doing creative financing deals in Southern California? And I said, yeah, I kind of feel bad right now that's the case that you're going through, because really when you look at a creative financing technique, you're actually solving a different problem than a traditional sale. And you're also providing a different solution to people. So, if you're an agent, you keep saying the same thing as every other agent that's reaching out is saying, then it's really easy for a seller to go ahead and just kind of blend everything together. But when you approach a seller in a different aspect, being an agent and saying, hey, I have a couple different options for you. One, I can go ahead and list your property. This is what it looks like. Or number two is, hey, I actually buy real estate too, and here's what these options could look like. We have agents in our coaching program, and that's exactly what we show them to do, which is morally and ethically, I can share with the seller and say, look, this is how much money you're going to make. This is typically the time frame that's going to happen in. This is the process. And also, I also buy real estate. So here's what you can potentially make. Here's what the process looks like. Here's what the time frame looks like. Whether you have to go on or off market. So just being able to provide more solutions. And I shared with those agents the types of profits that we were making and that we were making with these types of creative financing deals. I said, imagine if you can just do one deal a year for you personally, but imagine if you can just help out one additional seller every single year as well. Oh, and by the way, when you have the ability to sell, say, via rent to own after you buy them via creative, then you have the ability to open up your buyer pool to 100% of the buyers, right? Because there's only a small segment of people that can walk into a bank and get a loan today and get qualified, and it's shrinking by the day as the interest rates rise. And then the other pool of buyers, which is roughly 60 to 80% of the market, cannot walk into a bank and get a loan. Well, there's a pool of those buyers that are good rent-to-own buyers, meaning they just need time in order to qualify for a loan. So just imagine the buyers you can now help. And then if you just decide, hey, yeah, I get it, I can help sellers this way, and I get it, I can help buyers this way. Well, now imagine if you can build a business around that and start to be able to create more cash flow, more deals, and be able to provide both on the traditional side and the investment side as well.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it allows you to become an investor yourself, which will help buyers and sellers that don't really have any other options, right?
Yep.
Or you could also help clients become that creative finance buyer in order to purchase these assets, right? Because a lot of self-employed people and a lot of people who, for example, come to this country, they do have capital with them, but they don't have the credit history or, you know, they've had bumps in their credit or whatever that aren't going to qualify for loans. And especially with the debt to income ratios and things like this, like these are so many solutions that you could be creating. And this is money on the table for you as an agent. You know, these are sales that you're missing out on right now because you're going traditional, right? So kind of shifting it and having this toolbox that for you to think as an investor or for your clients to really create this toolbox for them to say, hey, listen, you don't have to buy this with a bank. Like, let's see. But in order to do that, you have to tap into those two things, which was the motivation and the financials, which we spoke about in different videos. If you want to touch on that super quickly. And then I think like that's a perfect way to encapsulate kind of how agents can tap and unlock this creative finance toolbox, especially for this market.
Well, before you put your blocks up too and say, hey, Zach, I like just doing my traditional real estate. What I'm not suggesting you even demolish what you currently have for business. I'm telling you to keep doing what fits inside your box. Like if you have a certain avatar of a seller and buyer in a certain area and a certain price point that you are absolutely killing it doing traditional sales, then don't change that. I don't want you to change that. What I want to be able to do is show you a pathway to be able to do more deals that don't fit inside that box. So let me just give you some examples. So imagine you're prospecting and you come across a property and the seller has no equity in the house. Well, the seller's options are he or she pays you out of pocket in order to close the deal, or you can buy it creatively and they are able to walk away with a deal without coming out of pocket. Either way, you've solved the problem, but you've also ended up on the investment side. Or again, let's say you're speaking to the same seller and you've actually have it listed for a while and the property's about to expire. And it's maybe happening for a couple different reasons, and most of the time it's just because the seller's unwilling to either lower their price or do repairs on the property that need to be done, right? So most of the time it's on the seller. But now you have the ability to create more options or purchase the property before it expires on your end. Because instead of letting the deal expire and then have somebody like myself as an investor approach them and buy it off market, or having another real estate agent now prospect them and get their listing and probably do the exact same thing. Instead, now you have the ability to give them additional offers on a deal that you were going to lose anyways. And when we share numbers on like how these deals actually play out as far as the profits that are on these deals, you're able to now get into the investment side of the business without using your own cash, without using your own credit, without going to banks, in a very risk-averse method where you're simply just solving some additional problems. So I want to plant that seed a bit.
Yeah, I'm totally for you because the more, here's one of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard.
Okay.
You get paid accordingly to the problems that you solve, which is the God honest truth, right? So if you're that agent that's making deals happen, even in the, for homeowners, sellers, buyers, whatever, Like, you're solving all these problems. You're the one that's going to cash out and take it at the end of the day, and you're going to be the superhero.
Yeah.
Right? So, like Zach said, don't stop what you're doing. Continue that business. That's not going to die out.
No.
But have more tools in your tool belt so you can help more people, and also differentiate yourself in the market,
Yeah.
because this is going to be absolutely huge for you, especially in what we're seeing in the next, what we anticipate seeing in the next 3 to 5 years in the market, especially in the commercial realms, you know, or multifamily or all of that stuff. Because things that were penciling out a few years ago, you know, very solid cap rate, 7% rate of return, now is like a 3% return. And everyone's like, why would I do that when inflation's like 7 or 8%? It doesn't make sense, right? So it's all these million different factors, but just add this to your tool belt, whether you're an investor or you want to help clients purchase the same. And I think that's the Willy Wonka ticket, golden ticket for you guys in this market on how to navigate, you know, in such a tough scenario.
Yeah, remember where you heard it from her.
And also too, like, I mean, Zach's in pretty much every market in the country, all across the nation, you guys. So it's not like you have to do this stuff alone. You always reach out to us, and we're happy to help you navigate through these waters, because we've done deals kind of all over.
Yeah.
We've done deals all across the country.
Right now, it's about 80 plus markets. And the interesting thing about all of that is the hardest part to get involved in real estate investing is prospecting, and you're already doing it as a real estate agent. Now it's just, how do you create another stream of income? And most importantly, when it comes to tax benefits, ownership of real estate is going to offset your current taxes.
Big time.
And I'm not giving you tax advice. I'm not a CPA, licensed CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm just, what I've seen is that it significantly impacts you personally and your personal finances when you have assets.
Totally. 1000%. So get these tools in your tool belt. You guys, if you are interested in more information, of course, reach out to us. But this is definitely going to be a golden ticket for you. So on to the next video. So next is my real estate investors probably watching this saying, well, what about the Q&A and the crap I'm going to get from the seller if I'm interested in putting an offer in on these properties? So
let's do it.
We'll get to that one next. So stay tuned for the next video, guys.